You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
Calling all new school counselors. If you're an intern, just graduated, or recently hired, this is for you. I have a free training series for you called New School Counselor Bootcamp. And this 5-part training will be covering how to make the most of your internship, rocking the interview process, how to prepare your office, setting up for a successful and stress-free school year, and your first 30, 60, and 90-day to-do list. So go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/bootcamp to sign up. Thanks for listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So today I want to continue talking about how you can tie up those loose ends at the end of the school year, because I know this can be a stressful time for you guys. And I actually did a complete training last week on how to create a Summer SEL toolkit to thrive instead of just survive at the end of the school year. Now, I hope you were able to join the live training. It was amazing. But if you did miss it, no worries. I wanted to include you guys as well. So I'm pulling out a little snippet of that training. It's not the full training, but just a little bit for you guys to see some of the strategies I shared in terms of creating a summer toolkit and how to wrap up the school year with ease. So I'll be playing an excerpt of that training, so you may hear me interacting with counselors in the chat and all of that good stuff. If you're looking for more trainings, if you're bummed that you missed it, don't forget about Coffee with the Counselor. It is coming up on May 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern, so go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/coffee to save your seat. Okay, let's dive into today's episode. I bet you're like me. Every counselor I know is constantly thinking about their students, even after contract hours, and summertime is no different. If you're anything like me, you're probably torn between wanting to set those firm boundaries that we know are necessary while also wanting to support our students' mental health and well-being over the summer months. So I'm sure you guys know what that feels like. You want to set those boundaries, but you also want to help your kiddos, and you're constantly thinking about them. Ashlyn said, yes, she's at 2 schools with 800. Melissa and Cheyenne said they can relate as well. So what's the solution? A Summer SEL toolkit for parents and caregivers is the solution to extend your reach without extending your boundaries. You're going to love this. I cannot wait to share with you. I went from feeling overwhelmed at the end of the school year to feeling confident and prepared to make a difference. So tell me, can you imagine what it would be like to make a bigger impact with your students and to feel more confident in your work? Comment with a yes if you can imagine what that would feel like. Stephen said yes. And yes, Shonda, yes. Bridget, yes. Kimada, yes. Well, where we're going today, I'm going to show you how to wrap up the school year with ease, then how to create a summer support plan, what to include in a Summer SEL toolkit. Then I'll share how you can work with me, and we'll have a live Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I may get to some throughout the presentation, but I'll definitely answer any and all questions at the end. Okay, so let's talk about wrapping up the school year with ease. We know this time of year can be stressful. Tie up the loose ends. So first, terminate your sessions and provide closure. Second, consolidate your data findings. And 3, prep for your future self. So when it comes to terminating your sessions and providing closure, there's 3 ways you can do this. You can use a progress tracker, you can try group termination activities, and you can help facilitate transitions. So use a progress tracker. I don't know if anyone does this already, but I love progress trackers. When I was an intern, I first learned about this. The counselor I was interning for did this, and it's a really cool visual way for students to see how many sessions they've completed and how many they have remaining. They can better prepare for the group to end when they see what is coming. So remember, as counselors, our job is to be short-term and solution-focused as school counselors. This isn't long-term ongoing therapy, so it does need an end date. So I love to do sessions for 6 to 8 weeks, and then you can track, okay, we met this week, here's the sticker or symbol or something, and then they can see how many sessions remain. You can do it with stickers, or like I said, I've seen the lady I worked for did a pretty laminated one with Velcro. It was an ice cream cone, and she would put the different scoops on, and then you could reuse that year after year. You can do it however you'd like. I also love to use a theme. If your group follows a theme, you can do that. Or if your students have an interest in something, like if they're really into soccer, maybe you could find some soccer stickers or something. Group termination activities. So a few things I love to do to wrap up a group. words of kindness posters. So these, you just get a big piece of paper, the kids write their name on it, and then the other group members go around the table and write on everyone's paper a compliment about them. Now, for the younger guys, you may have to model this and moderate to make sure they're keeping it positive, or not everyone's writing the same thing, like you're nice, you're nice, you're nice. But it's a really cool thing, and then they can take it home as a closure activity. Also, journal reflections for the older ones. Think about, what have you learned from this group? How have you changed as a result of this group? And I love a party. So I did a little graduation party. Here's some pictures of my graduation party a long time ago. And I just had some fun, like little things I could take, erasers and pencils and stickers. And then we played some games. You can do a photo booth. Those are always fun. And certificates, like you graduated from counseling, and really celebrate their accomplishments. I like to do the parties drop-in style. So what I'll do is I'll just have pick a couple days at the end of the year and tell the teachers who I've seen their students and say, hey, I'm having a counseling party this day. Just send your kid by sometime, throughout the day. So whenever's a good time. And they'll come for 10 minutes, and there'll be other kids in there, and they can all play. Facilitate transitions. So you can organize a middle school tour or a parent Q&A night if you're working with fifth graders who are about to transition to middle school. This is a really good idea to kind of ease any nerves and answer any parent questions. You can conduct check-in, check-out minute meetings with all of your students. The image there is of a quick Google form I put together to do a minute meeting student survey. So just kind of checking in on how everyone's doing. This is a good time to figure out how supported students are going to be over the summer. So do they feel supported over the summer? Are they usually home alone a lot over the summer? Just finding out that information as well. And you could do the idea of hosting a school leavers club. So Needy is one of our impact members, and she used to write for our blog, and she has a whole blog post about this. It's really interesting. A school leavers club is when you figure out which kids are going to leave the school. So maybe they're moving, not necessarily transitioning to a higher grade level, but maybe they're leaving the district or moving or something. And then you have a little club for them to kind of talk about, their fears and anxieties around that, and happy memories from their current school, and just anything like that. It's kind of a cool idea. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. Cheyenne loves the idea of setting up a party in her office, and Cynthia loves these activities to bring closure. Yeah, I found them really helpful as well. So tell me in the comments, which termination strategy are you excited to try? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Number 1 being that progress tracker, 2, the party, and 3, the school leavers club. Let's see. We got a lot of number 2s. Yeah, everybody loves the party. 1 and 2, progress tracker. And you may be thinking, oh gosh, my groups are ending, or I get out of school next week. I didn't do a progress tracker. No stress. Even if you only have 1 session remaining, it's not too late to kind of give them a heads up. And also, this is something you can, keep in mind for next school year, start your groups using a progress tracker. Yeah, exactly. Corey said she's excited for the party, but would like to do the progress tracker more often. Getting a lot of 1s and 2s. Olivia said 2 and 3. Lindsay said all of the above. Yes, love that. So the second thing you can do to tie up loose ends at the end of the school year is to consolidate your data findings using an end of the year report and a data wall. Oh, also, I just want to mention in the chat there, I know some people hopped on a little later. We did share the freebie for you guys showing up live, the freebie to the summer toolkit. The link is right there. Grant just put it in the chat. So you can go ahead and just paste that and check it out after the call. I don't want you guys to forget your freebie. So the second way that you can wrap up loose ends at the end of the school year is to consolidate your data findings using an end of the year report and a data wall. Now, I'm trying to keep this brief because I've literally done an entire training on an end of the year report because I'm obsessed with end of the year reports. I love them so much and really believe in their effectiveness. Actually, I'm doing a training on end of the year report for our next Coffee with the Counselor. So if you do that, you will get the in-depth deep dive of the end of the year report. But I'll briefly share with you what it is. It's basically a report you do at the end of the year to share what you've been up to in your counseling program as a means to advocate for your role. So some stats you can include are the number of students that you've served in groups and individuals, the number of time you've spent in sessions, how many lessons you taught, the topics you covered, any trainings or PD that you attended, hours you were in meetings, You can also track student progress and document it there using self-assessments, parent-teacher feedback, observations, pre and post surveys, and progress monitoring scales, stuff like that. Now, the data wall, on the other hand, is a little different. A data wall is more visual, and using that same data, you can just take a few pieces you want to highlight and create charts and graphs to display your findings. So I love to use Google Forms, like the digital forms, because it automatically creates the pie charts for you. Then you can just screenshot them, print them out, and put them on your bulletin board. So a data wall is cool. You want to put it in like a high traffic area so a lot of people can see it. This way it's kind of destigmatizing counseling, and it's showing parents and teachers the services that you provide. So they may not even be aware that you see students on an individual level, but when you present the findings, oh, I've seen, this many students, it's kind of a way to spread awareness and advocate for our role. And you don't have to use all the data. Like I said, your end of the year report will be more comprehensive. The data wall is just picking out a few things you want to highlight. So if you had a group that had really good post-group results on their self-assessments, you can kind of share that. Like before the group started, 9 out of 10 kids couldn't name a coping strategy, but now 10 out of 10 kids can name a coping strategy, something like that. Melissa's saying she wishes that she could merge Outlook with Google to make these great looking reports. Anyone know if that's possible? Oh gosh, I don't use Outlook at all, so I do not know if that is possible. But if someone knows, let Melissa know. So tell me, have you tried these data tools? Number 1, if you tried an end of the year report. Number 2, if you've done a data wall. Number 3, if you do both of them. And number 4, if you're like, oh, not yet, but I want to. Awesome. A lot of 4 is good. Yeah, I want you guys to try them. I encourage you to. It's not too late. And even if you don't have a ton of data, like just pick 1 or 2 things, and then you can kind of begin with the end in mind next year, knowing that you want to do these reports at the end of the year, and you can just kind of start collecting data throughout. So like I said, I'm doing a, I love that. Alice said she does it during School Counselor Week to advocate for her role. That's a great time to do it. That's in February. I'm doing a training later this month for a Coffee with the Counselor that's all about this. So if you are a number 4, if you want to learn more about this, I encourage you to attend that training. So I'll send you an email about it. Awesome. Erin said she does the end of the year report, but only to her admin. She might do it for teachers. Yes, I love the idea of doing it for teachers. Debbie likes the School Counselor Week idea. And Davin said he used the data materials that I provided. Awesome. Or she, I'm not sure. Thank you. And prep for your future self. So this is another way that you can tie up those loose ends at the end of the school year. Think about your future self. As much as you want to just lock the door and run, think about what you can do now to make it easier when you come back. Tidy up your office, organize your filing cabinet. Do a short self-check-in on highs and lows. So do a self-reflection journal exercise. What went well this year? What do I want to do again next year? What went horrible this year? What was okay, but took a lot of time and not that effective? Just kind of jot these things down so then you have a better plan for next year. And I love this idea. Create a first day start here folder. So this is like anything you think you're going to need when you get back, just make it easy for yourself and just put it in a little cabinet, and then you can access it and it'll be like, oh, day 1, here's everything you need. Here are your passwords. Here's this, whatever. So I think that's kind of a fun idea. Oh, Vanessa loves it. Thank you. Yeah, me too. So we've talked about how to tie up those loose ends at the end of the school year. Now let's talk about how to create a summer support plan. So a summer support plan connects our students with community resources over the summer months and provides parents and caregivers with the social emotional tools they need to support students. So connecting students with community resources. This is where I want you to think about, and this is going to vary, right, based on the students you work with. If you're at a very affluent school, you may not need to connect students with like a food bank. But if you're at a lower income school, then you may need to. So you know your school population and what they need over the summer. Some families may be looking for like extracurricular type things or camps. Some families may be looking for like assistance in terms of like food or childcare. It's going to vary for everyone. But what you can do, and this is a great intern task. If you have an intern, I totally encourage you to assign this to them. I did this with some interns. You can access or compile a community resource guide. So it's a little late in the year, so this may seem daunting, but if you have the time, I really recommend you try to do this. And you may already have one you can access, and you may just need to organize or tweak a little or update. But get a community resource guide. Find relevant resources in the community that you may want to connect parents to. That way, when someone asks you, you can just refer them to this PDF or this guide. Survey parents to find out who wants and needs support. So maybe send out a little quick Google form to parents, or you could ask teachers, but just asking like, hey, like, how are you feeling about the summer? Do you need support? How can we help support you and your family? You may not be able to do everything that they need, but just knowing is really helpful. And like I said, a lot of this is you can just kind of be the liaison of connecting them with resources. Now, if you have a school social worker, this is something they would be amazing at. But I know I never had a school social worker, so it kind of was falling in the counselor's lap. But if there's a school social worker on the call, I would love to hear from you if you do anything like this. But if you have one or a district social worker, maybe collaborate with them. They may already have something. Let's see here. Cheyenne loved the next year folder and asked about some other intern tasks. We can talk about that at the end of the call. Jennifer said she had a great one and then it was outdated. We need to update it. Yeah, that's the thing. You may just need to confirm that the numbers are still accurate and everything like that. Haley said, as someone who did an internship the last 3 years, I did or would have liked it running her small. Oh, she's sharing some things she would have liked. Awesome. Yeah, you can connect with Cheyenne. Oh, good. Rebecca is a school social worker, not a counselor. Cheyenne is the same, and Chelsea. And yeah, amazing. Okay, good. So we have some people who have like a title of a counselor but are a social worker. So I feel like you would be perfect for this. Amazing. Shelby's a social worker as well, and she's been keeping an eye on what her students can do over the summer with the resources. So tell me in the chat which community resource you'd like to connect students with. I'm already seeing one. Robin's saying maybe some reading supports or academic skills. Yeah, definitely. Maybe your school has a summer school program and you're connecting students with that, or maybe there's a community resource that offers that like in a public way. You could connect with that, maybe the local library, just kind of serving as that touch point. Because here's the thing. We, say bye to our kids in May and then we don't see them again until August. And it can be kind of scary if you know you have these at-risk students or, kids who you see a lot and you're like, oh, I'm kind of worried about them over the summer. I want to make sure they have everything they need. Yes, Corey's a social worker and she's collected community activities that were free or low cost and distributed at the end of the year. Sharice said tutoring programs, summer camps, counseling services. Yeah, perfect. Cheyenne said public library. Love that. Mental health support, summer camps, crisis centers. These are all excellent ideas. Low cost mental health support, summer camps. And a lot of these things, you have to remember, we are in the field and we're thinking about this stuff all the time. But some parents may not even know that these options are available. So something that may seem very obvious to you may be like something the parent hasn't considered before. Self-care and well-being. Yeah, public library is great. I agree. Free summer camps and activities. To find out info of cooling down stations. Oh, because in Phoenix, it gets up to 115 degrees. Yes, I cannot imagine. And, some people may be living without air conditioning. You never know. At-risk students. Yes. Oh, you guys have so many great ideas. You're such good counselors and social workers. Now, the second piece we can do, and this is what I really want to talk about, and this is what your freebie is that you got, is how to provide parents with social emotional tools to support students. And you can do that through creating an at-home Summer SEL toolkit. So this is just a simple PDF that you can send to parents to give them strategies to work with their child over the summer. This does two things. It helps you extend your reach, right? We are so limited in the amount of time we have and these large caseloads, and I know you want to do so much. So this kind of helps you help the parents help their children. And it closes the gap between each year. So we're working hard to teach our students every month through our, Tier 1 SEL lessons. You're seeing kids in groups. And then it's kind of like you've been working on coping skills all school year, and then you don't even know if they're being reinforced over the summer, and you may feel like you have to start from scratch in the fall. I know our teachers talk about this a lot, how, they're working on reading or something, and then they see a regression, and that first August, September is just getting them back to that baseline. Well, we're trying to prevent that by outsourcing, training, and equipping our parents with the tools they need. Who wants to have a coffee with me? This month's Coffee with the Counselor training is all about how to advocate for your role using an end-of-the-year report. If you've been around for some time, you know I am so passionate about using an end of the year report to help counselors advocate for their role and improve their program. In this training, I'll be sharing the ins and outs of the end of the year report, my favorite data tracking tool, how to interpret data to improve your counseling program, and how to showcase that data to advocate for your position. You don't want to miss this one. Like I said, it's one of my all-time favorite topics. Everyone who attends will be getting their own end of the year report for free, and I'll be showing you exactly how to use it so you can dive in with the data. This month's Coffee with the Counselor is on May 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/coffee to save your seat. Can't wait to see you there. So this is a way that we can support our kiddos while honoring our boundaries. Because while you're in Hawaii or Europe or whatever, I want you to enjoy yourself. You've deserved this break, but you can rest a little easier knowing that your parents are working on coping skills with kids, or your kids are connected with those community resources. So let's talk about what to include in a Summer SEL toolkit. So there's a variety of ways to create one, and it's going to look different for every school. So I want you to remember your brainstorming exercise. Remember the 20-second toolkit we did at the very beginning, and you were commenting on things that you think your parents need help with. And a lot of them had overlap, but everyone's were a little different. So every school will vary on what you think your families need support with. But a few essentials remain the same. And here's the components. When it comes to creating a Summer SEL toolkit, the main components I want you to think of. Introducing terminology. So that would be like, saying what SEL stands for, or explaining empathy or resilience or certain terms. Team building. So these are just fun family rapport building games and stuff that they can do together. Emotional recognition. So having some kind of activity or game or conversation about recognizing emotions. Coping skills, because often we need coping skills to deal with our emotions. And then some kind of self-reflection piece. So like I said, you get this for free for attending the training, and it's already done for you, but you can kind of take mine and add to it, or you can use mine as is if you think it's a good fit for your population, whatever you want to do. But here's what I was talking about. You can see on the left-hand page there, it's talking about resilience. So that's introducing some SEL vocabulary, and then there's a companion activity to do that with. On the right-hand side, it's just telling you about the included activities, and there's some expansion activities and reading. So like some recommended reading where they can learn more, because you have to think different parents are going to have different interest levels and availability, right? If you have a single mom who's working 2 jobs, she doesn't have as much time to do the expansion activities with her children. But if you have a stay-at-home mom who's looking for things to do over the summer with her kids since they're not in school, she may be looking for more. So you know your family's best. And it's nice to provide different options and expansion activities. Then I have some discussion cards that facilitate conversations around emotions. So again, these things are second nature to us as counselors, right? We're always thinking we're always talking about emotions, but our parents may not feel equipped to do so. And this is how we're helping them, just by giving them those little cards, those little conversation starters. A coping skills matching game. So a fun way to introduce coping skills, and then they can practice them together. A growth chart. So this is a self-reflection piece I was talking about. Students can reflect on how they've grown and then set goals for how they want to grow more. And then some movement-based team building games to play as a family. So, these can be like catch or charades or just different things to kind of get families to bond and spend time together. Selena says she loves conversation starters. So your turn. I want you to jump into the comments and share with me what you would like to include in your SEL Summer Toolkit. And I'm seeing a lot of people were sharing some more community resources. Yeah, this is amazing. A boxing program that the police officer holds, Heather said. That's really cool. Groceries with books, Sarah said. Some more stuff about from the library. Yeah, I'm really glad you guys shared those ideas of the community resources. Okay, let's see here. Angelique thinks prompts for journal writing. Yes, journaling at home, so important, so fun. Olivia says mental health check-ins, activities parents can do with their kids to teach the skills, a visual for how to respond to big emotions, discussion cards, movement breaks, books. Yes, even compiling a list of recommended books is a great one. Maybe they're looking for books to read with their kids over the summer. Mindfulness would be great. Mindfulness, someone else mentioned. Time management. Okay, stress balls. Easy recipes for Play-Doh slime to promote mindfulness and life skills. Yeah, you could even have in there like, hey, here's some instructions and a link to a YouTube video on how to make a calm down bottle. You and your kid can do that for like an activity one day. I need to do that with my son.
I hope you found this super helpful and that you learned something from this training clip. I hope you're feeling inspired and motivated to create your own Summer SEL toolkit. Or if you'd like to access mine, I'll put a link in the show notes where you can go ahead and get it and send it out to your parents. Don't forget about Coffee with the Counselor. I really hope to see you guys there. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/coffee to save your seat. All right, let's chat next week.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.